In this video, let's talk about Ice Barriers and why they're probably the best dual tournament archetype releasing soon. We've got Synchro spam, we've got Negate spam, and we've got probably the craziest floodgates to ever hit the meta game. We've got a anti-spell effect monster and the coolest negate I've ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which means the opponent has to discard a card to activate a monster effect. We have one card combos that summon Toadally Awesome on the 5th summon, which beats Nibiru, which is something negate decks just don't have anymore. But also one card combos that give us 4 draws. And I'm excited to show you guys why I think Ice Barrier is the deck to play. If you like Synchros, if you missed that Manadium style, this is the archetype you want to try out. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys some replays, some combos you can do in the deck, and also a deck profile on why I think is the way to play Ice Barrier's post-terminal revenge. So with that being said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the video. So with this one card combo, this is exactly where Ice Barrier needs to go. This is the one thing you want to do in the deck, and why, what you haven't seen online. So I'm really excited to show you guys what you should be doing with Ice Barrier. So to start off with, we're going to summon the Revealer of the Ice Barrier, use the effect to cost, discard a card, to special an Ice Barrier tuner from deck. We're going to special summon the Hexa. And Hexa's effect is quite cool. This also dumps an Ice Barrier to the graveyard. And this is the most powerful Ice Barrier card, Mirror Magic, which when goes to the grave searches the Ice Barrier card. We special summon the Speaker. And because Speaker is a level 4, there is our Bahama Shark, which sets up Toad on the 5th summon. And it's as easy as that. Having a Nibiru counter on the 5th summon for a Synchro deck that is really underrated is actually kind of crazy. And it's something we're just never going to see again. RIP Baron. Even Manadium can't do this as easily as this deck. And this is going to end on a draw for. So I feel like that is enough reason to actually have an interest in Ice Barriers. This is a generic rank 4 you can make. You could even play Abyss Dweller. You could play Berguska. Specialing Toadally Awesome gives us the Nibiru counter. We go into the Marincess Coral Anemone because this card is a very, very powerful card. It's a generic water special from Grave. Kind of reminds me of Fire Princess. And so we get to bring back the card we sent to the graveyard. So this card, we just have to talk about this card, guys. This is the modern power creep that Konami is known for. This is your Mathmech Circular, Kashtira Unicorn. This is the card you care about when it goes grave. It searches any Ice Barrier card, which is already amazing. It's a level 2, so Sprint can send it. It's a level 2 Aqua, which can hard make Toadally Awesome, which is kind of crazy. But also Swap Frog has synergy with this card. You contribute a other effect monster and special up to 3 Ice Barrier tokens. For each one, he gains a level. So you actually summon Anemone, bring back the Mirror tribute the Link monster, and there we go, guys. We have an insane setup for a Coral Dragon as well, which is actually a disruption. Remember, this is off 1 card or maybe 1.5 cards because of the discard. So let's summon the Coral Dragon. Make sure to summon it in the EM zone, by the way. You just want to make sure in this deck you can fill the board up quite quickly. So just want to make sure that the board is empty for tokens. And then we go into the Crocosaur by banishing Speaker for another Ice Barrier token. If we control an Ice Barrier, and that's exactly what we need to summon the Crocosaur. Chainlink 1 Crocosaur to draw 3. Chainlink 1 Coral Dragon to block the draw 3 with the draw 1. There we go. We've just drawn 4 cards. And I don't know, guys. That just seems pretty insane to me of 1.5 cards. And that is the line you want to see. That's what you want to work towards with a Rota in the deck that is not once per turn. With cards that can special any Ice Barrier from deck. With cards that can, special them from the graveyard. And so what I want to show you next is some replays that I played with Ice Barrier. I want to show you how far the deck goes if it's not stopped. So it's more about just knowing how to play the deck, when to make tokens, what Synchro to summon, and also managing the tuner, non-tuners, which in this deck is actually not as easy as Manadium. It's a bit more difficult in this deck and does take some time to get used to. Let's get into it. Voiceless Voice is going first, which you hate to see actually. This is not something we want to see. The deck is super advantageous, super powerful. But we've landed Ash Blossom on the Herald of the Diviner. But they do a Prosperity. Let's see what they find. I hope they don't find the card that searches Saphira. That would suck. Okay, I think they found the card that searches Saphira. So it looks like they're going to set up a Skull Guardian, which is unfortunate for us. The energy size isn't even that crazy, so you can really run if you want 15 hand traps. But I'm trying a few things out myself. The Skull Guardian player is just doing a few different things here, such as bringing this out without the low. I think the opponent might have misplayed here, but they do have the trap card, so they're going to be able to sort out the low and then get the third continuous spell from LED on the field, I assume. But let's continue the replay here. They activate the Authority card, and so let's go ahead. This is something I'm running, and I love this tech. White Sardine. This card can send itself from deck to grave as cost to special. This is low-key a Sprite starter, by the way. I just realized that now because it's level 2 and it doesn't lock you in, which is insane. But there is a specific Synchro we're running, which is why we're running the White Sardine card, but needing waters in the grave for the Anemone card to bring back Mirror is the whole aim of the game. They're gonna summon a ritual with service, but we Ash Blossom it. So what they're gonna do ahead is summon low, get that negate for their Skull Guardian, and I assume play something in the back row. So this is the non-once per turn, by the way, Searcher, a Medallion of the Ice Barrier, which I believe got an alternate art reprint, which we might get in Terminal Revenge. Let's continue though, and there it is. There's the 1-card combo with Revealer. Let's make sure we summon Speaker first before coming to the discard with Revealer, but not to worry because Mirror God's Grave, which searches, and I believe we're searching the level 6 Swordsman of the Ice Barrier. This card is a free special. If we control an Ice Barrier, bring back any Ice Barrier from grave, and then we go into the animal. Like I said, this card comes back as a tuner when it comes back from the graveyard, and this card is absolutely insane. I think this is a new card in Legacy, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm running this because it can bring back fish monsters. When you bring back the White Sardine card, a copy comes out from the grave with Pauper. So you got a really cool synchro bridge, and what you want to do is find efficient ways to synchro climb. Sometimes you get stuck with many tuners and not enough non-tuners, vice versa. So I found this tech to be really cool, and so we treat both of them as tuners here, and we're going to banish Speaker for a Ice Barrier token because we control an Ice Barrier. So let's see what we get up to. We haven't used Mirror's token spam ability yet, and here we go, guys. The really powerful Trishula Synchro monster, which can banish 3 cards the opponent controls, doesn't target. And so this is the perfect card to deal with Voiceless, where you can't target what they do. So you'll love to see it. And there we go with the triple token spam, something you don't really see every day. So let's continue. Let's summon the level 7 White Aura monster. So in this deck, you don't have a good level 7 option. So you can run this or the Deep Sea Diva level 7 Synchro. I like this card because of the fish support I'm running in my version. So let's continue and let's bring back a fish monster, make it a tuner because it came back from the graveyard. And let's go into something really cool, which is the Lancia Dragon of the Icy Mountains. This card specials any Ice Barrier from deck, basically everywhere, and then puts a card in defense mode, and so that gives us the floodgate. So let's continue the replay, let's see what they do and try and get that advantage with the floodgates. They're doing typical Voiceless stuff right now. They're going to do the low Skull Guardian effect, and there we go, guys. Let's bring out General Reinhold himself. This is probably the coolest card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I've seen in a long time, and this card is basically our floodgate. Coming up soon, we actually hard drew the anti-spell floodgate, so I find that really funny. Let's continue though. They have another special with low, so we get to trigger the Skull Guardian, but we do get destroyed. The Icy Mountain gets destroyed, but when it's destroyed, it treats a Ice Barrier you cheat out from the extra deck as a Synchro summon. So you can probably see what's coming next. It's Trishula himself, and I feel like that is a super scary board to deal with, having Trishula and Big Trishula on board. But they do have some pretty good, I guess, advantage still. They summon a Dynamondo, hoping to extend. And I think at this point, we've just exhausted so many of their resources. Just look at how many banished cards we have from them. And that is the power of the Ice Barrier. Really Trishula cards, which is kind of what Ice Barrier is known for, what its identity is. And we've just topped that off with floodgates. And this Dynamondo will not resolve because they don't have a discard. And yeah, they kind of just have to pass on that. Unfortunately, we don't really have a play back. We have droplets though. So I guess, yeah, we can just go for the battle phase and try and go for an OTK. We don't really have link climbing abilities in this deck. So what they're going to do is actually combo up quite nicely here. But again, this is where we have to use the droplets. Low gets negate because they can't discard. You love to see it. Droplets take out the Skull Guardian, take out the field. And let's see what the Skull Guardian play can do now. They do try an Imperm. I don't think that's enough. They added Skull Guardian, which is a sign that sometimes you can run into a grind game, which is Ice Barrier's strongest thing, which is, I mean, maybe it's thematic with Ice, but like slowly you're going to whittle them down to where they have nothing left. And this opponent clearly did. They didn't set Saphira, they had to set Skull Guardian. There we go, a great showcase of what you could do going second against Voiceless, a really serious meta contender. Okay guys, next replay is against Fire King Snake Eyes. So gotta be honest, a little bit nervous playing against a deck like this, but we do find the 1-card combo with their opponent has no disruption. They have an Avata, but that's gonna happen on their turn. So I'm just gonna show you guys what goes on here. Let's make sure Toad is summoned on the 5th summon. That's really important. Bahamut is 4th summon and Toad is 5th summon. So now we don't really care what happens next. We have an Imperm as backup, and so let's go ahead. We have the Sardine card in hand. I'm not sure if you've already summoned with it, but let's go ahead and start with the 1-card combo draw for first. Let's see what extenders we have. We want to make sure the Sardine card can come back as a tuner. Whether we do that, I'm actually not sure, but let's go ahead for the draw 4. You love to see it. I feel like any deck that can do a draw 4 with Toad on the 5th summon is just a guaranteed success in my opinion. We drew so many water extenders, including Brand Adrian, one of the best wall monsters in the game, which is a free synchro summon for Gimmick Adrian, But in this case, because of ice barriers, let's bring out Lancia, the icy mountain, which I think we do now. Yeah, we do now. And that is kind of the onboard we want to see. Very simple. I feel like we should have got an extender with the sardine card, but we didn't find it. Ideally, I think the new fishbowl harpooner card can come into play really nicely in this deck, and I do run it as well. I think I might push it to 3 just because it's a level 4 tuner, which the deck does actually have, so definitely something to keep in mind. So let's continue the replay. Let's start with Wanted, search the Abel Star. I believe they'll summon the Abel Star, but not for the summon Avatar, the Abel Star, and chaining to Poplar to Chain Block. You still get to special with Raiho. Raiho becomes a negation unless they discard, which they do. They've discarded the second Poplar. Let's pop the original. Let's imperm Avatar. And the opponent, I'm playing around talents, I'm pretty sure, which is why I kept the Toad. Mirror goes Grave. Let's search for the next turn. They do a nice draw one. They're probably trying to draw into a talent themselves. They're trying to bait us with the Heater. They do an Ash on the Lancia, but it doesn't matter because we're just going to win the game. Doesn't matter if they summon the Ponix because we have so much advantage. We have a Toadally Awesome negate still left, and we've basically exhausted everything they have. So there we go. That is basically the end of that game. Kind of a cool one as well. I mean, you got to see what the deck can do going first. If it's not disrupted, you're drawing 4, you're drawing into extenders, you're drawing into dimensional barriers, you're drawing into broken floodgate cards, and you're also setting up a Toad on the 5th summon. Alright guys, so we're playing Ogfell's Dragon Link in this replay. Tenpai Dragon Link actually, which did really well at a very recent national, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. So the deck is definitely something to be concerned about, but like we said in the previous replay, we want to find that 1-card combo. Let's go ahead and do that. Sometimes, because this card isn't a once per turn, I like to search the Medallion, which searches the Swordsman, which is a free special, into special extender, which you love to see. So yep, let's go ahead and let's do the draw 4, keep it simple. We've already drawn the D barrier against a deck that needs synchros. I believe this might have been game 2 or 3. So this seems way too easy of a game. We can close our eyes and just flip D barrier with the right negation and disruption. We've even added a Dragite to the board. So Dragite plus Toad plus Imperm D barrier, no one is winning past that. So I feel like we've already secured the game, but we're still going to extend even more into the Lancia. Draw 1, special from Grave. Even worse, we special from deck with wins over the Ice Barriers. Fun way of playing Ice Barrier, which is get a lot of tokens on the board with Mirror, tribute every token for every floodgate in Ice Barrier, which is actually what they're known for. They have a Abyss Dweller for monsters, they have a Shifter for spell and trap cards, but they also have something to stop tribute summoning, attack reduction, anti-spell, even better anti-spell, which is discard a card, and neither player can activate spell cards, which is insane. And then we have, of course, General Raiho, the main man himself. So what we've done is cheated out the Warlock, and they're not going to activate spell cards, but we did another Ice Barrier in the field. I really feel like this card should have been called Ice Barrier, and I hate that it doesn't, because that is definitely something that is holding this archetype back. Is what it is though, because it's going to special an Ice Barrier for us very soon when the opponent special summons, which they're going to do right now with 1-for-1. And Dragon Link needs spell cards, it needs the field spell cards. Tenpai needs the field spells and quick play spells. So I feel like we're going to win this game. There's Raiho. Put something in defense. Dragon doesn't get to search. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just there to be a dark attribute for Dark Charmer. They have a few cards in their hand as extenders. There's the Toad getting rid of the red MD. We've got Dragite, so we're not concerned about leaving Toad. We can add Animal back to the graveyard to reset Mirror for the next turn, which is a very cool interaction. Makes me want to run 2 Toads, maybe a second Bahamut Shark. Toad is obviously summonable with Mirror being a level 2 Aqua, so maybe you might want to try Swap Frog in your version. Let's negate the Tenpai Chandra. There's Pydra, Chandra, all of them. Let's do a quick D barrier, and there we go. They're going to do Romulus search, but they have to discard a card to resolve it. They have to set a spell card because of Warlock. That is the end of that game, guys. So another showcase of, going first with Ice Barrier, with those easy 1-card combos, with the fact they can run on engine as well. They can kind of match the craziness of the meta game. As soon as Lancia hits the field, which is super easy to do, as you've seen, once you summon that General Raiho or you summon the anti-spell Floodgate, it's over for the opponent, because you're also putting their cards in defense mode, and there is an Ice Barrier that stops defense monsters from changing to attack. And here we go, like I said, Swordsman has a great effect. While you control another Ice Barrier, your opponent can activate the effects of monsters in the graveyard, which is super powerful. This stops Princess interactions, this stops Flamberge interactions, this stops Raging Phoenix interactions, also stops Low from especially from Grave. Let's do one more replay against Gimmick Puppet. So this is one where they're using the new Maxi card, but I want to show you guys in this replay I make a ton of misplays, but the reason why I'm showing this is just to show what the deck can do and how far it can go as well. So we're going to do some stuff here. We're going to summon Revealer, special the Hexa send Mirror search for the Revealer, or Speaker, sorry, special into Bahamut, get that Toad out in the 5th summon, so they can't Nibiru us. Go into the Anemone, bring back Mirror, go for the draw for combo, which, you know, we're setting up right now. We even got Abyss Shark for super extension. You'll love to see it. Get the Coral in the EM zone for the space, bring out the other token, and go for the Coral Dragon, or rather Crocosaur. We've got some nasty draws there. Let's review that. We've got a D barrier. We can special any Ice Barrier from deck with Winds. We can special any Ice Barrier from grave with Freezing Chains, which is also a protection against extra deck monsters. You'll love to see it. Fishbowl gets the special. We're gonna try and get a Dragite on the board as soon as possible. There's our Abyss Shark. Let's see what we can end up on. This replay really just gotta show how much we can do. And there is our Dragite. So Dragite, Toad, Crocosaur, and D barrier. Let's see what the opponent does. I don't think they're gonna do much, but they do draw a lot of cards. They have a Ghost Ogre for Dragite, that's fine. They have another Imper which we are forced to use the Toad for, but because we have something like D barrier, because we draw 4 cards, summon Toad on the 5th summon, it's actually kind of likely that you're going to see a card like D barrier, as well as the 1-card combo actually going through your deck, searching quite a few cards. So the percentage is quite high, I want to say, for seeing something like D barrier. You can even run draw cards like Mori of Avarice. You can run the card that shuffles 3 waters, draw 2. And so there we go, the opponent passes it back to us. Nothing really happens here. We're just going through the phases here. This card can banish itself except the turn it's sent, and add a banished Ice Barrier card from there to hand, which is great. Fishbowl Harpooner comes back, makes the Anemone, bring back Mirror, and all the name of the game is summon Mirror, tribute Anemone, make tokens, draw 4, or just summon any Synchro in the game, and then just get advantage from there. We're playing Sorovis in this version. Something I just want to test out because of how important the Revealer 1-card combo is. We want to protect it so it doesn't get impermed. So that's why I was testing Sorovis. We have Lance in the field. We're bringing out the Pulpus, which brings out the Harpooner. And we can special another Harpooner because we have 2 in the graveyard with Pulpus's effect. This card is super underrated. And it's a level 6 which sets up a level 10 Synchro. It's just as simple as getting that 1-card combo set up, getting Lancey on the board and floodgating them with hopefully some hand trap you've drawn with the Crocosaur, or maybe just other floodgate extenders like the Wind to cheat them out from deck. Alright guys, so this is my deck profile for Ice Barrier. Let's go ahead, let's start off with Revealer at 3. This is the most important card of the deck. We've got Speaker, which is a free special extender. Kind of reminds you of Silent Angler. If you control an Ice Barrier though, you can bring out a level 1 token. Again, the tokens are important because they also work with Winds, and Winds can special all the Ice Barriers from graveyard. You'll love to see it, including Mirror. We've put Hexa down to 1, which I'm still debating whether this is correct because we need Hexa in the deck for the 1-card combo. So I'm very tempted to push this card to 2. And you can see here I've changed a few ratios up. I've got Mirror at 2, which, you know, honestly, this card is really, really important. But I feel like you don't really want to draw it. You want to send it to grave, or you want to find a way to discard it. And you don't want to really draw too many cards. There can be a lot of overlap with normal summons. But maybe if I add another Fishbowl Harpooner, maybe I change up the board breaker hand trap ratio. That's exactly why I need to make this deck even stronger. So, you know, definitely take my advice there and mess around with the ratios. I'm still figuring it out, and this deck is a ton of fun to do that with. We've got General Raiho, the main man. Let's go through Hexa though. This card can dump any level 3 level Ice Barrier, copy its level, and then gives the attack reduction to the opponent. Mirror, like we said, which can search any Ice Barrier card. So it's a great Foolish Barrier target. Warlock and General Raiho, which in my opinion are the only Ice Barrier floodgate you should care about. But there are some other ones as well which you can just search up for yourself. There's a ton of them. George is one of the new cards which can special if you control another Ice Barrier. Wayne was kind of the previous, let's say, extender of the deck, which got power crept by the George Swordsman. This card also helps you set up the Lancia after you've done the 1-card combo with Revealer. 3 Gimmick Adrian, which just feels to me like the perfect extender. This is basically an Ice Barrier card at this point. And then we've got White Sardines, which I'm running at 2. This card is super fun to use and is a lot more consistent than you think. I definitely do think Harpooner should be at 3 though, so definitely something to keep in mind. And we're also running 1 Abyss Shark. I really don't like running 1-offs, but you know, with these cards being so powerful, I feel like I have to at least try it. Definitely something that baits hand traps, which you'll love to see. Fishbowl Launcher, which reminds me of the banned Fishbowl Launcher card. This card is actually a Jet Synchro. It's an extender if you only control waters in grave, and sometimes all you need is a second water body when you might have like a random token on the board to make Anemone bring back Mirror, and there's your draw advantage combo. So this card is actually super important. It gets banished though once it's done coming back from the grave. Monsterus can bring it back and then make a Dragite, which is really important. So I was really debating why people run this at 1, and honestly it makes a lot of sense. You rarely need to use these cards if at all. Going second, they're kind of awkward as well. Usually with the tokens you want to Synchro Climb, but I can definitely see a reason to bring out tuners and non-tuners instead and Synchro Climb that way. You might want to run Winds at 2 if you really want to go for that kind of route. 3 of the non-one split on Searcher, some board breakers like Droplet's Talents, and then some hand traps to wrap it off. The rest of the extra deck is honestly, I want to say it's kind of tight, but the most flexible cards here is this card, Quistron, let's say the Pauper's card, Monoceros. Because this card doesn't say Ice Barrier, I'm tempted to chuck this card away, but because it's the new Brionac, I had to give homage to the OG Brionac and run this. Even though you don't even run the original Brionac or the Gungnir or the Dularen, you can just tell those cards have been power crept, unfortunately. But Coral Dragon kind of reminds me of Brio. We've got the Chengli, which I barely summon. Maybe something I take out, to be honest, but is a great finisher. And then we've got the classic Adrian, Dragite, Crocosaur for the combo. You definitely need to run both Trishulas because you will be able to cheat one of them out, and you can cheat out the other one. And they're also just easy to summon and great removal options as well. If you really enjoy using things like Crystron Quandax to sync on the opponent's turn, you can even set up things like Trishula on the opponent's turn, which is an insane interruption to have, super underrated. And if you combo Crystron Quandax with the Lancia specials, there's your monsters needed for Trishula. I love running Paupers, and I think this card is a no-brainer when you add 3 of the Harpooners, or just Harpooners in general, with Gimmick Adrian, with White Sardine, with Abyss Shark. But right now I'm just having them in the case that I hard draw them. Because of the draw 4, we're likely to see them anyway. You can run the Prime Sea, Deep Sea Diva level 7 Synchro, but I feel like that card's a bit clunky. This card is also quite clunky, but when you mix in all of these great fish monsters, it makes a lot of sense. I would really debate putting in a second Anemone, maybe a second Toad, or maybe even Swap Frog to hard summon Toads. I do think Toad is one of the best XE monsters remaining in the game after Baron's Band, and then a very boring side deck for you guys. Nothing too crazy here. General Wayne was something every decklist ran, and I was doing it until I decided it's not needed, and the opponent needs to control a monster before you can special this. And so there we go, guys. That has been my Ice Barrier video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Will you be trying out Ice Barrier? What Terminal Revenge archetype are you looking forward to the most? This is definitely what I'll be playing and what I'll be profiling on its release day. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.